Welcome to the Street Fighterverse. Today we'll be unlocking the mysteries of Cammy White, the lightning-fast street fighter whose skills are the stuff of legend. But as skilled as she is in battle, there is still so much we don't know about Cammy. What secrets lie hidden in her past? You might think you know everything about this legendary character, but think again, we got some hidden facts about Cammy White that will blow your mind. So get ready for an amazing episode as we discover the hidden facts of Cammy White. Without further ado, let me welcome you to the Street Fighterverse. We will start with the appearance of Cammy White in Street Fighter Alpha 2 Gold. Cammy is a wandering doll around the globe, seemingly being free from Bison's mind control, in the act of trying to find truth about herself. A doll and the Street Fighter are teenage girls that were captured by the shadaloo and brainwashed to do Bison's bidding. They can either be assassins or bodyguards of Bison. She encounters Bison and asks him what her purpose in life is. He replies, "To serve me," which did not sit well with Cammy, so she fights him and defeats him. Suddenly out of nowhere, a lightning bolt appears and knocks down Cammy White. The lightning hit makes her forget everything about the discovery she made on her travels, and again is mind controlled by Bison. In Street Fighter Alpha 3, Bison sends Cammy White to find Yoga Master Dhalsim and assassinate him. She finds Dhalsim and tries to assassinate him, but it does not work out, since Dhalsim uses his mystical powers to make her aware. She snaps out of the mental state she was in, and realizes she was being controlled by the shadaloo. At the same time, Bison sends Vega to eavesdrop on her. When Vega confronts Cammy, he tells her that she was just an experiment, and that she is no longer needed. In Vega's storyline, he reveals that he had doubts of killing her. He only wanted to face worthy opponents. After a fight between them, he lets her go, but also tells her that shadaloo henchmen were going to be looking for her. This situation brought confusion to Cammy, since she never misaligned against the shadaloo. Why is their purpose of trying to destroy her? So she encounters Julie and Juni, who were not aware of Bison's control. She then confronts Bison. He tells Cammy that she was meant to be the next body of his, after his last body got destroyed by his psycho power. Cammy frees the dolls from Bison's mind control. After that, in the middle of the confrontation, Bison tells Cammy that she was a clone of himself, who had a small portion of his psycho power, and that if he died, she died with him. Cammy proceeds to fight him, freeing herself from his mind control, and rescues the dolls with the psycho drive. Cammy got the dolls out of the shadaloo base before it was destroyed. She falls unconscious, Vega rescues her, and leaves her at the doorstep of the British paramilitary government organization, Delta Red. In Super Street Fighter 2, Cammy wakes up after being unconscious. The Delta Red team takes her in. She, at this moment, doesn't remember anything about her past, but manages to keep her fighting abilities. The second World Warrior tournament was being announced. She discovers that Bison was behind the tournament. Even though she doesn't remember anything, she feels a weird connection towards him. Following her instinct, she enters the tournament. She confronts Bison. Bison tells her she is a copy of him, that she was used to assassinate people for him. He planted her in Delta Red, but he didn't count on her in losing her memories, so she is no longer of use for him. Her and her allies defeat Bison, and her Delta teammates tell her she doesn't have to live in the past anymore. In the Super Street Fighter 4 OVA, Guile, Chun-Li, and Cammy investigate SIN. They are also on the search for one of their main operatives named Juri. Juri fights Chun-Li. She sends Chun-Li to the hospital. They start receiving anonymous tips on data against Juri and her whereabouts. They don't know that the information comes from c.viper. With that info, they are bound to locate Juri, retrieving the bodies of the 12 dolls out of the secret shadaloo facilities. Guile and Cammy arrive, and they confront Juri. As Juri is leaving the scene in a plane, Cammy manages to get on the plane and has a showdown with Juri. Juri pushes the vessel that was carrying Juni into Cammy. They both fall out of the plane and luckily land on deep snow and manage to survive. In Super Ultra Street Fighter 4, Juni is in a coma. Colonel Wolfman from Delta Red informs Cammy that SIN is building a dam in India, near the village where Dhalsim lives. As she investigates, she joins the SIN fighting tournament, swearing revenge for what Juri has done to her sisters. She encounters Juri, but it is unknown to who wins the rematch. Cammy gathers data on a top-secret project called the Bleach Project. While reading the data, c.viper holds her at gunpoint. Turns out c.viper was looking for those files, and wanted those files for herself. Cammy deletes the files. C.Viper lowers her gun and escapes. Cammy faces off with decapre. Falling in her rage against Cammy, she collapses on the floor. Bison appears and tells Cammy that decapre is dying and that a negotiation can be made. Cammy lets Bison take decapre so she doesn't die. Cammy failed to retrieve the files, returned home and visited Juni at the hospital, promising to take care of her during the recovery. In Street Fighter V, Shadaloo is on the move. Cammy travels to India and encounters Birdie. She defeats Birdie, and he quickly recognizes that Cammy wants one of Bison's dolls. Birdie escapes, but Cammy does not. Cammy arrives at the Shadaloo base and faces Fang, in which she asks about the whereabouts of decapre. She is surrounded by Shadaloo soldiers, as Fang mentions. Operations chains to her. Cammy flees back to London and returns to Juni. Vega attacks Cammy. Cammy fights Vega to protect Juni. Vega retreats. She decides to save the dolls and stop Shadaloo. Leaving the scene, Juri is spying on Cammy all of this time. In a shadow falls, Cammy rescues Chun-Li from Bison's psycho power attack. Guile, Chun-Li, and Cammy escape, and Bison lets them leave. Cammy helps with the retrieval of the keys to the Black Moons, which are powerful satellites that destroy cities. They manage to control the keys and stop other Black Moons. Cammy confronts decapre and saves her. The police want decapre, but Cammy won't give her to the authorities. Instead, she runs away with Juri, who has been following her whereabouts. Now decapre and Cammy are fugitives of the law. Decapre wakes and fights Cammy. After that, Vega fights Cammy. After defeating Cammy, Juri interferes, calling him a pervert. Seeing them fight, Cammy rushes to kick Vega's mask off his face, in which he proceeds to leave. Cammy finds all the dolls controlled by Fang. She fights Julie and defeats her. Vega attacks Cammy and defeats her. Decapre saves Cammy from Vegas' final hit. Juri arrives and fights Vega. Cammy and decapre are surrounded by the dolls. They prepare to fight their sisters, who are still controlled by Fang. When confronted by Rashid, the device that controls the dolls is destroyed during their fight. After Cammy and decapre defeat the other dolls, Cammy notices that the psycho power surrounding them has disappeared. As the dolls awaken, Shadaloo guards try to seize Cammy, but because the dolls have broken free from the mind control, they are able to ward them off. The sisters are reunited. Cammy is last seen with Juri and the other dolls watching Shadaloo's destruction. Bison's dolls are completely loyal to him. They behave and talk like robots, following Bison's command. As members of Shadaloo, they were only below Bison's and other Grandmaster members, such as Balrog, Vega, Sagat, and Fang. In the beginning, the dolls could not survive if Bison died, for brainwashing corrupted them to such extent that they would have collapsed and died. Eventually, Cammy, the most popular doll, managed to break free from Bison's mind control, apparently with help from Dhalsim, and did the same for the others too. They collectively attacked Bison when he appeared. As a clone of Bison, Cammy was told she and all the other dolls would die if he died. Cammy successfully resisted Bison's psychic probing, and rescued the dolls from his grip and the psycho drive. After leading the dolls out of Shadaloo's base, Cammy fell unconscious, in a state of amnesia along with the rest of them. Vega eventually found Cammy and brought her to the Delta Red headquarters. After some time, it was unknown if the other dolls survived, but a trailer for the OVA for Super Street Fighter IV showed that they did. They were unconscious, being placed in capsules, and strapped to stretchers. After beating the dolls unconscious, Juri brought them to Seth for experiments. Seth stated that the dolls would be killed once they arrived at the spot. On board Juri's plane, as it took off with the dolls, Cammy managed to fight Juri for a short period of time. The match was easily won by Juri, and ended with her elbow knocking Cammy's wind out of her stomach, which caused Cammy to back up. In a fierce push, Juri Han grabbed Juni's capsule and forced it towards Cammy. Despite her best efforts, Cammy was deflected by the capsule and fell from the plane with Juni in the snow. As a result, Cammy says she won't forgive Juri. In Super Street Fighter IV, Julie and Juni survive. However, they don't seem to regain their memories. Her amnesia is so bad that Julie turns into, as Rose puts it, an empty shell of a person, as she is incapable of speaking, laughing, or even crying. In the middle of nowhere, Julie finds herself staying with an elderly couple. Cammy and her pet cat watch over Juni in a hospital. Decapre is also alive in Ultra Street Fighter IV, although it is unclear whether she is controlled by Shadaloo or SIN. As revealed in Street Fighter V, Fang worked behind the scenes to provide the dolls with upgrades to improve their combat power and to link to psycho power. At the end of A Shadow Falls, the dolls are reunited once again, with the exception of Mars, who appears to sacrifice herself to defeat Fang. However, Fang was later shown to have survived, leaving Mars's fate uncertain. In her ending in Street Fighter 6, over the phone, Juni expresses her concern how Cammy is so focused on work that she forgets to eat among other basic needs. However, Cammy reassures her that she is not the same as before, now that she has people who care about her. Saying this causes Juni to giggle. When asked about it, Juni asks about the cat charm hanging on Cammy's phone, and that remembering it made her laugh. Cammy expresses her fondness of the charm and thanks Juni for the gift. After the call, Cammy still can't process that Shadaloo has been eradicated, even though Juni thinks she's being paranoid. Additionally, Cammy finds it strange how it's becoming harder to find any trace of Shadaloo's remnants. She goes around the world to investigate. Her searches eventually lead her to Nashal, where she meets JP. She interrogates him about any leads of Shadaloo's remnants. However, the man denies any knowledge of the criminal syndicate. As he's about to make his leave to feed his cat, his body suddenly radiates negative energy. Cammy recognizes that the energy JP possesses is psycho power. When asked about it, JP remains silent. Cammy threatens to use force in order to get answers from him, while JP sends his apologies to his cat for prolonging her meal. The two battle and Cammy emerges victorious, even though she felt something is out of place. Despite all of this, JP escapes and Cammy returns home to recollect her thoughts. While she suspects that he knows something about Shadaloo, she's left with more questions than answers. Cammy starts doubting if she can truly put an end to the criminal organization. She then remembers Juni having tea and cakes with her, seeing her smile and remembering her words of wisdom. Cammy thanks Juni for reminding her that she is not alone in this fight. Cammy vows to succeed for the sake of her and for her sisters. One of the most intriguing mysteries surrounding Cammy White is the origins of her name. Well, get ready for this fun fact about Cammy White. In the Sakura Ganbaru manga by Masahiko Nakahira, Cammy's name was actually given to her by none other than the Sakura herself. You see, when Sakura found Cammy with a lost memory, she couldn't remember her own name. But being the creative thinker that she is, Sakura decided to name her after a cat from her neighborhood that she thought she resembled. Hence the name Cammy was born. Who knew that one of Street Fighter's most iconic characters was named after a feline friend? Another fact surrounding her name is that Cammy's name might have been something completely different if the developers had gone with their early plans. In the Super Street Fighter 2 game, some unused graphics were discovered that featured the name Sarah instead of Cammy. This suggests that the developers had originally intended to name the character Sarah, but later changed their minds. It is not entirely clear why the name change occurred, but some fans speculate that it may have been due to localization issues. Perhaps the name Sarah was deemed too difficult to pronounce or to translate in certain regions, so the developers decided to go with Cammy. Whatever the reason, we can all be grateful that Cammy's iconic name was ultimately chosen. Can you imagine if she had been known as Sarah instead? It just doesn't have the same ring to it, does it? But who knows? Maybe in an alternate universe, Cammy is known as Sarah and has a whole different set of moves and backstory. The possibilities are endless in the world of Street Fighter. Ever wondered how strong Cammy is? Well, get ready for a mind-blowing fact about Cammy that will leave you speechless. Did you know that in Street Fighter Alpha 2, the notorious Bison himself claimed that Cammy had the power to wipe out an entire country? That's some serious firepower right there. But here's the kicker. Cammy was suffering from amnesia at the time, which means that she may have not been using her full fight potential. Imagine how much more powerful she could have become if she were to unlock the full extent of her abilities. So, while Cammy may be a total powerhouse already, it's clear that there's still untapped potential waiting to be unleashed. Who knows what kind of destruction she could wreak if she ever reached her full fighting potential. One thing's for sure, you wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of one of her devastating moves. This is a very weird one. Get ready for a Street Fighter tidbit that involves love, brainwashing, and a surprising twist. Did you know that in the Street Fighter 1995 cartoon, Cammy was originally depicted as Guile's love interest before being brainwashed by none other than Bison himself? Yes, that's right. In the cartoon, Cammy's storyline was quite different from the games. She started out as a member of Guile's team, but was later kidnapped and brainwashed by Bison to become his lover. This was actually based on her original ending in Super Street Fighter 2, where she was brainwashed by Bison after being defeated. Interestingly, in the Japanese version of the cartoon, it was never explicitly stated that Cammy was Bison's lover, but in the English version, the romantic subplot between Cammy and Bison was definitely a thing. But wait, there's more. As it turns out, Cammy's story took an unexpected turn in the series finale. She managed to break free of Bison's brainwashing and ultimately choose to side with the good guys once again. Talk about dramatic redemption arc. Talking about Bison's brainwashing, get ready for a shocking revelation about Cammy's past that will have you on the edge of your seat. In Street Fighter 4, Cammy delivers a crushing win quote to her arch nemesis M. Bison. But here's the catch. She accidentally calls him Lord Bison, before quickly correcting herself. This slip-up is a major clue that Cammy may still be struggling with the after effects of Shadaloo's brainwashing. Even though she's a fierce fighter and a force to be reckoned with, it's clear that her past experiences with the nefarious organization have left a lasting impact on her. So while Cammy may seem like an unstoppable fighter, it's important to remember that she's still dealing with the aftermath of a traumatic past. It just goes to show that even the strongest warriors can have their weaknesses, but that doesn't make them any less formidable in battle. Ever wondered what is the purpose of Cammy White's attire? Well, let's start with the origins of its clothing. Here's a fascinating fact for all you Street Fighter fans out there. Did you know that when Akiman was creating Cammy, he specifically wanted to make her a contrast to the iconic Chun-Li? And how did he achieve this? By taking inspiration from the pigtail assassin Misty from Wounded Man, of course. Akiman modeled Cammy's look after Misty, which is why she's often seen sporting pigtails and a military-style jumpsuit. But that's not all. Cammy's arm protectors are also based on a design from Masamune Shiro's legendary manga series, Appleseed. Shiro is known for his intricate and detailed artwork, so it's no wonder that Akiman chose to draw from his work for Cammy's distinctive look. So the next time you see Cammy kicking butt and taking names in the Street Fighter universe, remember that her look was inspired by some of the coolest characters in design from manga and anime history. Talk about a killer mashup. Are you curious about why Cammy rocks a leotard as her go-to fighting attire? Well, it turns out that her choice of outfit is not just for fashion, but for function too. You see, Cammy needs to be quick, nimble, and able to move freely in order to execute her lightning-fast moves and kicks. And what better way to achieve this than by wearing a leotard? This sleek and streamlined outfit allows her to move with greater speed, agility, and flexibility, making her a force to be reckoned with in any battle. So next time you see Cammy in action, take a moment to appreciate the practicality of her outfit, because when it comes to street fighting, sometimes it's all about finding the perfect balance between style and substance. And that's a wrap on our Cammy White deep dive. We hope you enjoyed learning about this badass fighter and all of her unique quirks and trivia. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on new theories and info. Thank you for watching. This has been your Street Fighter host. Welcome to the center stage. Our new Discord server. There you can talk with us, chat about current events going on in Street Fighter, information, theories, and lore. We'll leave the link in the description box below. We want to thank everyone for tuning in and becoming part of this Street Fighter community. We want to thank you for your positive comments towards our channel, because it only habilitates us to grow even more. From the Street Fighterverse crew, we thank you.